Hi everyone, my name is Paige Bard, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about three things. Timeline, geography, and race. All in the magical realm. So, let's get this video started. Hi everyone, my name is Paige Bard, and welcome to, or welcome back to, the Creative Bard channel. So today, like I said in the beginning, I wanted to talk about three of the most insane things that I have ever done. And those three things are the timeline for the magical realm, the geography for the magical realm, and the races for the magical realm. We're not going to go too in-depth in these. I want to do a video later on that goes more into depth, especially about geography and races. Those are two series, playlists, I don't know what you want to call them, that I will do, probably because I'll go over like one country, one race, one country, one race. So yeah, guys, this world's insane. A little bit background on this. So like I said in the introduction video, I've been working on the Magic Realm for about 20 years now. And in doing so, I've added a lot of different ideas to this, and it's been kind of crazy trying to organize all this. So a couple months ago, I was given the opportunity to write this all down for a class. And once I started writing it, my 4-page document turned into, I believe it's close to 21 pages now. I really wanted to figure out what started this world. And this is what I came up with. The gods don't really have power without their patron users. So it's kind of like the patrons give the patron user powers, the patron users give the patrons power type of thing. More patrons you have, more patron users you have, the more power you have. With saying that, they can't really create a world. So what they did was they came together and used the little amount of creation they did and created something known as a creation species. The creation species' job is to create patron users. They needed someone to worship them. In doing so, the first creation species are dragons. This is where my dragons come in, and this part of the timeline is known as the Dragon Era, or DE, as you'll see a lot. The Dragon's Era is the start of the timeline. The Dragon Era covers the Hadean Era, the Archean Era, the Pterozoic, the Paleozoic, and the Mesozoic era. I know a lot about the Mesozoic era, but that's pretty much it. I am slowly learning more about the Paleozoic, and then we don't know much about the first, the Pterozoic, that word, the Archean, and the Hadean. I am slowly learning more so I can add more to the Dragon Era. They created all those, so the ancestors to the birds, the ancestors to the insects we know now, the reptiles, and all that fun jazz. We all know what dinosaurs were. Religion wasn't on the forefront of their mind. That's what. So in doing so, the gods weren't very happy with the dragons. They're like, what are you doing? We can't work with this, basically. So the dragons, in a last attempt, created fairies. And they're like, look, we can create this. The first fairies were not the best looking fairies. They're more like a humanized version of Velociraptor mongolius. Very small, very highly feathered, not quite human. But the gods saw this and they were like, okay, you're onto something. And they're like, the dragons, they couldn't create something outside of their own image. The gods, on the other hand, saw that, took the weird fairy things, and made them into the fairies we know now. In doing so, dragons got demoted to normal species, and their powers of creation were taken away, and fairies became the new creation species. And this is where we get a lot of our insane different species. So we'll go through that in a second. But the fairies started creating and creating and creating, and then they started to create humans. And this is when the patrons got excited, when they started realizing humans could be taught language. And if you can teach a human language, you can teach him religion. And in doing so, they started getting patron users. So the start of the humans to about 1200 FE is known as the beginning. The reason why is 1200 is around the time that the first witch trials start. Around 1715 is where we meet the last patron user. Due to what happened with the Leviathan, the patrons just had to go away. They went away, and then in 2030 FE, we meet the characters Charlotte and Alfred. Charlotte and Alfred are known as saviors of magic for one reason. They were able to release magic back. So 2030, they released magic, and in doing so, they may have started a 70-year-long war. But at the end of the 70-year-long war is the 3000 FE, and 3000 FE is known as the Rising. Is when magic is coming back. They're slowly readjusting to the lack of the electricity they have now due to the Leviathan being there. But yes, so electricity, gone, banned. No one's allowed to use it. And they're adjusting to a whole new race of humanoids. The fourth era and the last era is known as the Freeing. That is the timeline. So we're just gonna hop on into geography. All right, so here's the map. And I'm pretty sure the first thing you notice is the giant black blob that used to have been Russia and China. So the reason why Russia and China are currently a massive wasteland is due to them breaking the rule of no electricity. So they sent a small group of patron users and kind of just blew up the place. On the west side, starting from the top, so on the Purple Isle area, that is called the Islands of Canada. And underneath it, we have Quebec. Underneath it, we have Colonial, because underneath it is Texas. Yes, I believe if Texas were to secede, this is what would happen. Right underneath it is Central Mexico. Down in South America, instead of having the multiple countries, they now only have two. It's Brasilia and Argentina. It's a very hard word to pronounce, and I don't know why I did it to myself, but I did. Over a little bit to the east, the green island up at the top is Norwegia. Wow. Reading these names out loud, I'm so sorry for my fantasy readers. This is why I'm doing this. Norwegia. This is the Norwegian area. So all the green dots you see that's kind of in that same color as the main island, that's part of them. So now, if you zoom in a little bit, you can see the European section. It's very much different. Starting from the top, you have the Netherlands. And then right across from it, you see known as the Three Sister Kingdoms. So on top, there is the land of the Scot, and then underneath you have the English. Across from it is Eyre. Underneath it, you have Frank and Spain. Blue blob between Frank and the Republic of Ukraine. That is Germania. That is what's left of German. And then underneath it is Italia. A little further south, we have the Africanus continent. This is where Egyptia, or Kingdom of the Sand, they were polite enough and gave those who could not speak their language easier names. Right here, along the long edge, right next to Egyptia, is Nigeria, also known as the Coastal Kingdom. Right next to it is Zaman, also known as the Jungle Kingdom, and then the Ocean Kingdom, whose name is literally just despite the other kingdom, Botswanagar. Alright, and now we're moving more to our Asiatic countries. This orange country with the star, that is known as the Tribe of Judah. Right above it, we have Iran and her sister country, Iraq. Right below it, this lime green area, the Kingdom of Malaya. I'm gonna jump up to the red. So this is the United Colony of Japan. So they do a lot of trade with the Kingdom of Malaya and the United Islands, which is all right here. And then you have my personal favorite. Australia went back to its roots. For those who don't know, Australia used to be an area where England would just hightail their prisoners to. That is the geography. And we're gonna quickly zip over to race. There are the knowns and the unknowns. To make it easy, unknowns is everything but humans. Humans, we all know them, but unknowns consist of a lot of different things. So there are patron users, there are cryptids, there's mythos, there's creators, patrons, there are also monsters. So patron users are witches and warlocks, but they prefer to go by patron users. Anybody can become a patron user. So they are the more umbrella species. Okay, we also have patrons. So patron users, patrons are the gods. So anything you can think of, it's in there, basically. So if you guys want a specific god or goddess included in the book, I am still researching. There's so much to research. Drop a comment down below which one you want, and I'll do some research and I'll make sure that a character pops in either in the series or in the campaign. We have the three that get the most confused. There are cryptids, there are mythos, and there are monsters. Let's start with mythos. Mythos are more the socially accepted creatures. These are elves, dwarves, even gnomes and unicorns, created by fairies. They're not as adaptable as humans, which is why humans are more of the ruling species. Cryptids are not monsters. They are not monsters. There is a difference. They're more the creepy humanoid-like creatures that were born through myths and legends or through the fairies kind of messing around. They tend to stay closer to the shadows. They're not sure how to act with society. So the difference between cryptids, mythos, and monsters is how they were created. Mythos were intentional. Cryptids were kind of them just messing around. And then monsters started off as something, and then they were changed by a guy named Abaddon. Abaddon is the demon who is sent here to destroy the world. So Wendigos were created by Abaddon, and so were werewolves, vampires, shapeshifters. They were made to give grief to the world. That's a little bit of insight on our D&D campaign, as well as the books. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. I love answering them, especially about this stuff. It helps me create a world, and it helps you guys learn more about it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with your fun fantasy friends. That's it for today. I hope y'all have a great day and keep turning pages.